All right, so on this episode, we don't have a subject, but we're going to just touch base on what's going on in the industry right now.
Straight to the point, this what you do and what you don't do. No bullshit, sugarcoat when it comes to repairs and maintenance. Advice you can go to. Full sin, no edits, cause just go to. Full sin, and we'll get you done right. Full sin, and we'll get you going right. Full sin, keep it going day and night. And this ain't just a podcast, we get it right and keep it tight.
So, when was it? About a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I went with Tyler and Caitlin. We went down to Mount Pleasant to just visit some of our customers and visit some of our vendors. Got to take a tour of McKelvey. Their place is enormous. Didn't really think they had that much inventory, but man, they're packed. They got a lot of stuff going on, which is great. Great for me, great for a lot of people. Especially with the buyout that just happened with Textrio getting bought out by Dexter. I think it officially signed last week or the week before. So that's big news, especially in the tire and wheel assemblies, because if I'm correct, they're going to be dominating pretty much the tire and wheel assembly. So pricing for tires and wheels is going to get pretty dirty, if I can only imagine. But no, it was a great visit. We visited with Cab Manufacturing. We visited with Lone Star. We had lunch with Jacob at Diamond C. Thank you, Jacob, for the awesome lunch. That was a pretty cool spot right there in downtown in Mount Pleasant for a pretty good sandwich. We took a little quick tour of the inside facility. Dude, they have a gym, like a full-blown gym, which is pretty awesome. Tyler, if you're watching, yeah, we can make a gym up here. We can.
That's going to be a podcast room.
/gym.
No, podcast room.
But no, it was pretty cool. Just seeing how the atmosphere at Diamond C was on the inside was awesome. It was real open. If you've never been, I would recommend always going and just taking a tour if you're able to. But no, the one interesting thing that I did notice that usually when you go to Mount Pleasant's trailer city, anywhere you go, you're going to see trailers, trailer manufacturers, trailer dealers. But what caught my eye was that big techs, usually they have anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 trailers, ranging from dump trailers, goosenecks, flatbeds, equipment haulers, car haulers, you name it, any kind of trailer they build, as far as the eye could see, or however that says. But, they had trailers going on for miles, and it was vacant. Then talking to some of the manufacturers there, apparently they've been closed for a couple weeks. So that's very interesting. We drove by a couple of other places. Some of the manufacturers are expanding while some are cutting back on production. I think from talking to a couple of different people in the industry, just from this year, the trailer industry has been down about 25%, if not more. I know that was in first quarter, and second quarter was around 25% that we've dropped. But it's interesting because you got a lot of newcomers that are building new trailers or coming up trying to get a name for themselves in the trailer manufacturing world. And you got Caltech, 5-Star, you have Cab Manufacturing, Float Ride, and just a couple of others. Those are just a few to name, but just in our area, those are some newer names that are coming up in the industry, making a name for themselves and making a footprint in this industry where, your name brands but still are, Big Tex, Max D, Diamond C, Texas Pride, Gatorade, which I really haven't seen much of Gatorade, but yet again, they're out in the East Coast in Florida. But I know in the RV manufacturing, they've decreased a lot up north. I'm real good friends with a trailer manufacturer or axle manufacturer up north, and their business has dropped. Even with some of these bigger companies, their business has dropped in the axle manufacturing about 50%, just with some of the new things going on or new buyouts that are taking place. So it's going to be interesting this last quarter of the year, and then just 2023. I'm going to say it's going to be a real tough one. Or not tough in a sense of hard to get stuff, but just tough on the economy, just for stuff that's going on. And I think next year, election year, no, this midterms, but it's going to get interesting. Some of it referred to it to, I think it was 2003, 2004, if I remember correctly, that Matt was talking to me about, was that he's noticed something like this happen, and it lasted about a year and a half. Hopefully, I would consider 2022 being the year, and then hopefully in the second quarter next year we get out of this slump that we're in, and everything just kind of normalizes. The problem with a lot of the manufacturers or a lot of the vendors that they're having is the overflow of supplies from 2021, that everything's finally coming into their doors. So they're getting flooded with overstock of inventory, which is just causing a lot of overhead. We experienced that ourselves with the wheel ends. We had maybe 4 containers, if I'm correct, that just all arrived at one time, which by the books, they were still on the water. And then all of a sudden, hey, you got 4 containers. But it's going to be an interesting year, or interesting last quarter, to say the least. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for those small manufacturers who are trying to make a name for themselves to get a good foothold or stronghold in the business right now in Q4, especially with big techs. They've been closed from what they told me 3 weeks now, 4 weeks, and they're going to stay closed for another 2 weeks. So I know that's going to be very interesting. What's new here? I would say the accountability chart's kind of working its way in, and everything's working where it should be. Everybody's rowing in the same direction, and I think things will be a good way to end of the year and get a good stronghold. I know we had a marketing meeting that I felt I was in college, because I didn't understand not one bit of what was going on. But
I did.
Yeah, Kiefer knew what was going on. I was kind of on the side just doodling. But no, it's very interesting, because if your team's not doing that, focusing on what your niche is, or what your focus is, and focus on your core values, on trying to push that message at the same time that you're trying to push your product. It's and not only that, but seeing what products your team wants is easy for your team to push out, and those that are very difficult. So, we pulled in all the teams and kind of got that information from everybody, from axle manufacturing to fulfillment to sales to even the shipping coordinator with Sam. And I know what I'm going to talk about on my next one. But no, most definitely, it's great. But now that's pretty much what's going on in the industry that I can think of, that I've been in a loop with. But yeah, if you haven't watched any of the other episodes, go ahead and check out the link in the bio, and just check out all our previous content, and then stay tuned for what's to come. If you need any trailer parts, you know where to go, the Trailer Parts Outlet. But no, that's pretty much it for this one. Sayonara, adios amigos, Dos Equis. If you're still watching, I still have your beer in my intro video. So that would be pretty cool. Just that's free promotion for you. All I'm asking is for like a 24-pack or a keg. Not much, but till then, guys,